Yeah, I think Spence beat him. At this point in both of their career, I think Spence beat him. At the end of the day, I'm not the one that controls who win or lose.
What could you tell Tim, or what could you tell him about a Spence fight if he was a future opponent?
I can't tell him nothing. I just tell him good luck, train hard, and go in there and fight.
You watch him in person, he's a dangerous guy. When you see him up close, the punches and the snap, that's the difference. That's the discrepancy there. It's like it's night and day. It's boys and men. It's just a whole different ball game.
We know that for anybody standing in front of Errol Spence toe-to-toe, he's gonna destroy them. So I mean, this might be the perfect opponent that Errol Spence needs to come back and show the world who Errol.
Terence Crawford breaks down why Errol Spence Jr. could destroy Tim Tszyu. With the fight approaching, Crawford says Spence has the kind of power that could overwhelm him early.
Fan, like when the build up, I'm like, man, hey, let me get your autograph. You know what I mean? Because I watched you come up. I'm older than you, but I watched you, rooted for you when you was in the amateurs, when you was in the Olympics, all that.
Terence Crawford basically hinted that people forget just how dangerous Spence can be when he's fully locked in and fighting with confidence. And with fans now debating a possible showdown between Spence and Tim Tszyu, many believe Errol's experience, pressure, and physicality could create serious problems for Tszyu early in the fight.
The Tim Tszyu fight week, so I do have to ask you your thoughts on Tim Tszyu's career and if he is going to be back at that elite level.
Well, Tim Tszyu had a great career. He's still going. You know, he's accomplished a lot, you know, for what, you know, his experience entail. His fight this weekend, I don't know too much about the fighter that he's fighting other than, you know, he's undefeated. Wager on if him and Spence fought each other, who will win. And I had to back Spence because that's what
Terence Crawford believes that Errol Spence would be a nightmare for Tim Tszyu, pointing to Spence's pressure, sharp body work, and elite ring IQ as the exact tools that could shut Tszyu down. According to Crawford, Tsyu's aggressive style might actually play into Spence's hands, creating a fight where experience, accuracy, and sustained pressure would slowly take over and expose the Australian star's weaknesses.
Good. You know, I got a little wager bet, you know, for my boy Tszyu. You know, he got Tim, I got Errol. But I think it'd be a good fight for both of them at this stage in their career.
Why are you confident that you win that bet with Tszyu? Watch Errol in the fight.
Well, I'm not, you know, 100% confident, you know. I just know, you know, the caliber of fighter that Errol is. I just wish him well, you know. I wish him well, much respect with him, his career. And I'll be looking forward to it.
Zab Judah also explained why he believes Tim Tszyu could be walking into the worst possible style matchup against Errol Spence. According to Zab, Spence becomes extremely dangerous against fighters who are willing to stand in front of him and trade without constantly disrupting his rhythm. And with Spence now rebuilding his team and preparing for a comeback, Zab believes this fight could remind everybody why Errol was once considered one of the most feared pressure fighters.
I like Tim Tszyu. Why Tim Tszyu? Because this is a fight he's gonna stand right in front of Errol Spence and he's gonna fight. That's the fight that we've known Errol Spence to dominate guys in. He lacks a lot of defense, you know what I'm saying, maneuvers, and I think that's where the downfall is gonna be at. Other than that, he's a very tough fighter. He comes forward, he has a lot of heart, you know what I'm saying, you know, he's great, but a style like a Errol Spence walk down, that's not gonna be, that's watch what I say, no cap. Around my block, then you gotta get dealt with, that's it. So he reacted and responded like a fighter to me. That's all I hear.
And Ronnie Shields also shared his thoughts on Errol Spence facing Tim Tszyu. And you could tell he still has a lot of confidence in what Spence is capable of at his best. Ronnie basically hinted that people are focusing too much on Spence's last fight instead of remembering the version of Errol that dominated elite welterweights for years. And if Spence can rediscover that same pressure, conditioning, and confidence, many believe Tim Tszyu could be in for a very difficult night.
And I don't care what Tszyu has to do, because I'm with Spence. So.
I know.
But I think for Errol, you know, Errol just has to be Errol, you know. You got to get back to what got him to where he's supposed to be, you know. And, you know, Errol, you know, he has one defeat, you know, and that's against Terence Crawford. But before then, people were avoiding him like the plague. you know, because, you know, he's just that good. So I think he just got to get himself back into shape and get himself positioned to where he can do things that he...
Meanwhile, De La Hoya also made it clear that he still believes Errol Spence belongs among the elite fighters in boxing despite everything that's happened recently. According to Oscar, people are too quick to forget how dominant Spence looked before the Crawford fight and how dangerous he becomes once he starts controlling the space. And with Tim Tszyu known for standing his ground and trading shots, many believe that style could play directly into Errol Spence's hands if he returns looking sharp.
He's more diverse. He has better technique. He moves around more, you know, and I love Spence. I mean, he's a great fighter. He knows how to change it up, switch it up. He has A, B, C, and D game plan.
And Teofimo Lopez also gave his thoughts on Errol Spence facing Tim Tszyu, and he sounded convinced that people are underestimating what Spence can still do inside the ring. Teofimo basically hinted that Tsyu's aggressive style could create the exact kind of fight Errol loves because it allows him to settle into his pressure and rhythm early. And if Spence comes into the fight physically strong and mentally locked in, Lopez believes the version of Errol that once dominated the welterweight division could suddenly reappear against Tim Tszyu.
Now Heyman calling these guys to come back, man, because we needed something up in the sport. This is beautiful. And I'm very honored and grateful to be in the position I'm in while all this is happening. It's a dream come true. Errol Spence, Australia, Tim Tszyu. Heck yeah, I really want to see him win. I don't think so. I think Errol Spence has been truly like non-stop working out. He already looks like he's in now. And when you stay on that trajectory, when you're staying consistently on working out, it's only bound to happen with the sparrings and everything.
Some analysts are happy to see Errol Spence back in the mix, saying his return adds real intrigue to the division and gives fans a chance to see how sharp he looks after the layoff. They want to see whether Spence can still bring the same pressure, timing, and physicality that made him one of the most feared fighters at welterweight, or whether the time away has changed his game.
I hate when a boxer loses one fight and you forget everything they've done. The hard work they've been doing for years. Earl's a Hall of Famer. I don't give a damn what nobody says. He earned it. He had 3 straps at one time. Was cleaning up the division, doing whatever he had to do on his side, and he ran to all-time great. It was bad timing on his parents' part. But one fighter fought twice since 2020. One fought 12 times. So do we got the wear and tear? Do we have a fresh guy? I mean, it's perfect timing on both guys. And I think Earl's a type of fighter because I think if you get him there with like an Africa, Tim Tszyu, you want to be up there in that type of black fighter, if y'all know what I mean. You want an Errol Spence that's not gonna move too much, but I'm going with Earl.
It's literally perfect time.
Experts are saying it will be interesting to see how Spence looks after the layoff and whether he can still perform at an elite level. They believe his comeback could tell a lot about where he stands now, especially against top names in the division who are still active and in rhythm.
Was getting ready to train Errol, if I was somebody who was working with Errol, that, you know, I want to make sure that these ones and these twos are working right. And the other side that I disagree with you, I think he uses his both hands better than Tim uses both of his hands.
Well, that's what I'm saying, the volume. Like, I just think punch for punch.
You said Tim's sharper.
Punch for punch.
I don't think he's sharper punch for punch. I think Errol.
Hey, he said, nigga, I've been punched by him.
I think Errol is sharper with.
Are eager to find out if he can rediscover the same form that made him a dominant force, or if the break from competition has changed the way he fights.
I think Tim, you know, for a while now, Tim has been a much avoided fighter because, you know, there was this kind of perception of him that he was this monster. But the reality is he's had a couple of defeats and people look upon him now as a kind of opponent. And that's what Errol Spence's team are doing. But I think Tim's more than an opponent. I think he's a very good fighter and I think he's got a lot about him. And I think it's a very dangerous fight for Errol Spence to come back to. You know, 2 years out of the ring, obviously the car crash, the retina problems over the years. And yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. And I wish Tim all the best. You know, again, not on our team, but with our hopes to build Australian boxing, hopefully he can.
While many people are with Errol, some of them think Tim has the potential to win the fight. For instance, Eddie Hearn doesn't sound nearly as confident about Errol Spence's comeback as some other people in boxing do. Eddie basically hinted that Tim Tszyu is being underestimated right now and believes this matchup could become far more dangerous for Spence than fans expect. In fact, Hearn seems to believe Tim's pressure, toughness, and recent experience could give him a real chance to shock the boxing world if Errol isn't fully back to his old self.
I don't really understand much what he says. Just, I don't know, maybe it's his accent or something. But yeah, I hope he brings that energy. Yeah, I think he's refreshed, rejuvenated. I hope he is. When he fought Terence Crawford, I felt like he looked a bit dizzy, you know? So I don't know. So hopefully he's all right. Hopefully he's at his peak. That's what I expect.
A win against Spence, does it put you back in the Fundora talk, or do you have your eye on a fight that'll happen a month prior to yours, and that's Boots versus Xander?
Look, I'm willing to take on all challenges. You know, another Fundora fight, I'm down. Yeah, there's a lot of different fights to be made for sure. Boots and Zayas, that's an interesting one as well. So yeah, we'll see how it all.
Tim Tszyu also made it clear that he fully believes he would beat Errol Spence if they ever step into the ring together. According to Tim, this isn't about reputation or what Spence accomplished years ago. It's about who is sharper, stronger, and more active right now. Tszyu believes his pressure, conditioning, and non-stop aggression would force Spence into uncomfortable exchanges from the very beginning of the fight.
Oh, come out throwing the left hook. But the last time Errol Spence did that with Tony Harrison, didn't work out too well for him.
I saw you say you've been watching Crawford's fight with Spence as well.
Yeah.
Any particular reason? You sort of prepping things?
No, just yeah, to a certain extent, but just the front hand. Just the front hand, how he just strategically beat him down was just interesting. How he stopped his relentlessness and was able to use his angles. It was just interesting.
He also hinted that long layoffs and tough battles can change fighters mentally, especially against someone who constantly moves forward and refuses to back down. In Tim's eyes, this matchup favors him because he's entering his prime while Spence is trying to prove he can still perform at an elite level after everything he's been through.
He's just a humble guy, down to earth. He hasn't let the fame and the fortunes of life get into the way of life. And it's good to see that, you know, it comes from an example. You know, there's certain styles that people think they swing different ways. That's what makes me and Errol Spence so interesting, is that it could go either way. And when I got presented with Errol, who's undeniably one of the best fighters of this decade, I didn't hesitate, and I straight away accepted. I accepted not to compete, but I accepted because I knew that the victory is only on my mind. I know the challenge that is put in front of me. I'm going to work super hard, and I'm coming for it all. And thank you again. Victory is...
That's why Tszyu sounds extremely confident that if this fight happens, he won't just compete with Errol Spence. He believes he'll overwhelm him and leave no doubt about who the better fighter is.
3-year layoff, and I'm sure everybody has their, reserved opinions, thinking I'm a shell of myself, or, do you still have it? And, it's just because I'll be thinking the same thing seeing my last fight. But I guarantee you, come July 26th, you will see a better, more improved Errol Spence. It was some time I had 3 years off, and I feel like it helped me mentally. It helped me physically, gave me some time to recover, and just enjoy life, enjoy the spoils of my wins, and just being with family. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to put on a great show. I can't wait for July 26th to be fighting in Australia, to be fighting in front of his fans. I look forward to disappointing them, putting on a great show, putting on another great performance, and showing y'all why they nicknamed me.
Errol Spence also responded to all the growing talk about Tim Tszyu potentially beating him, and it's clear he still believes he has everything needed to win this fight. According to Spence, fans are too focused on his setbacks and completely forget the level he performed at before the Crawford loss. He believes his experience against elite competition combined with his pressure, conditioning, and body attack would create major problems for Tszyu over 12 rounds.
It was the right time because I didn't know I didn't know if I was coming back or not. I just knew that, you know, one day, you know, I might wake up and be like, I want to come back. And, you know, the day happened. And then I talked to, you know, the Cubans, I talked to Al, and we was going through a few names. And, you know, they at first you know, they had their reserves. Justly, they wanted me to take a tune-up fight, but I told them I don't take tune-up fights. You know, I want to fight somebody who's gonna get me up for the challenge. And they said, what about Tszyu? And I look forward to that. I've been doing that since I was an amateur, fighting in other people's countries. You know, I've been to Russia, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan. So this is nothing new to me. Kilbrook, England, Sheffield. So this is nothing new to me. I look forward coming to Australia and, you know, just showing the fans who I am and, you know, the gratifying moment of looking up after the fight and seeing how everybody left the arena because they were disappointed. Some type of sick gratification, but to fight somebody in their hometown and fight them in front of, you know, their countrymen, and to beat him in front of how many thousands of fans is gonna be, that's gonna be a great moment for myself. And you know, I like that feeling. I like the feeling when I went to Sheffield and did the same thing. And I'm looking to do the same thing.
Spence also talked about his return and hinted that people underestimate how dangerous he becomes once he starts controlling the pace and forcing opponents backward. In his eyes, Tim Tszyu is tough and aggressive, but that style could actually play directly into the type of fight he wants.
Is comparing that moment that his father had against Julio Cesar Chavez, and he's saying this is his moment, his version of that.
I think it's cute, but I mean that ain't what that is. This is Errol Spence versus Tszyu. He's no caliber of his father. I mean of his daddy. So he can't even compare himself to his pops. He fighting me, he trying to get out his daddy's shadow. So we'll see come July 26th, can he get out that shadow? Dap up people who talk shit. And then when you see me, you want, hey, what's up, buddy? Like, I'm not one of those dudes, bro.
What's he say? What are you referencing, Errol?
I'm not one of those guys. If you talking on social media, and then when you see me, you want to shake my hand.
I'm very respectful. What are you talking about? I've been calling you one of the best fighters of this decade.
I heard all the little stuff, right. And they want to give me a hug. Like, I'm not.
More importantly, Spence sounds motivated by all the criticism surrounding his comeback because many people now doubt whether he can still dominate at the highest level. That's why Errol believes beating Tim Tszyu would remind the boxing world exactly who he really is.
Hence the opponent for Errol's coming back. It's a name. It's a good fighter in Tszyu, but it's a guy who's lost 3 of his last 4. So he has just as many questions to answer, you know, in the ring if he's in his prime as Errol does. I wonder if the weight can help Errol Spence. My question is he 3 years rusty and done? Or is he 3 years and has some rejuvenation? Has rest done him some good? Will not getting down to 147 do him good because he's going to be strong and comfortable at 154? Or will one of his best attributes as a welterweight, which was being the bigger man, although Tim Tszyu's not a big guy, and Tim Tszyu's been making the weight a minute, but he's not a big guy making the weight. You know, at their best, I feel like Tim Tszyu punch for punch is a sharper fighter. I feel like he has actually a little, just punch for punch. Like Errol is more of a busy volume, break you down behind an excellent jab kind of guy, body head. Tim Tszyu's more economical. He doesn't throw with as much volume, but he's sharp. I think Tim has a little bit better reflexes to him at his best, but he was never as decorated or as accomplished as Errol was. And you look at Fundora, I mean, who's a giant, but Fundora's constant lead hand, it pelted Tim Tszyu and took advantage of him trying to snipe shots and be economical. I could see Errol Spence at his best doing the same, piling up behind that jab, getting to work. But really, this is who knows? Who knows? You know, they both aren't coming in with...
Some boxing analysts are also leaning toward Tim Tszyu in this matchup because they believe the timing might finally favor him against Errol Spence. They've pointed out that while Spence was once one of the most relentless pressure fighters in boxing, long layoffs and tough damage can change a fighter's rhythm, reflexes, and timing in ways fans don't always notice immediately. At the same time, Tszyu is viewed as a sharp, calculated puncher who wastes very little movement and capitalizes on openings quickly. Many believe his more controlled style could become dangerous against a version of Spence that may no longer be as explosive or physically dominant as before. There are also concerns about whether Errol can still maintain the same pace and coordination over an entire fight after being away from the ring for so long. That's why some people now believe Tszyu could be catching Spence at exactly the right moment in his career. Alright everyone, stay tuned for the latest in boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Knockout today and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.